Travel Bros, episode 18. Jamie Haas, we are here. We're going to the great state of Texas. We're going to go to the Auberge Bowie House in Fort Worth, Texas, which Fort Worth, Texas is not a place you probably in your brain tied to luxury. But really, even Dallas Fort Worth at large is not somewhere I think luxury hotels are very strong. Probably the weakest of the triangle cities of Texas. I think a lot of that's going to change. I had pulled up some articles. I had already known about some of this stuff, but I think before we dig into the Auberge, I think take a couple minutes and talk about some of these insane facts about the Dallas, Texas hotel scene. So according to CoStar data, Dallas ranks third lowest across the top 25 U.S. hotel markets, with only 3.3% of its hotel supply being in the luxury segment. If you don't have a point of reference, the average across the top 25 hotel segments in America is 10.6%. And number one is Las Vegas, where 28.1% of its hotel rooms are classified as luxury segment. And you say that, so it's like there's clearly a huge void in this Dallas-Fort Worth market. And then there's a lot of stuff coming down the pipeline. There's actually an Auberge opening in Dallas called the Knox, which is set for 2026. Four Seasons Turtle Creek is on the way, which is also going to be in downtown Dallas. There's going to be a JW Marriott coming in the Dallas Arts District, being built by the same guys who built the Hyatt Regency Frisco. So interesting little tie-in there. And there's a couple other properties. The Omni PGA Frisco has also now opened, which is north of me, which has been pretty exciting. It sounds like a lot of rooms. And I actually found on hotelinvestment.com, they broke down some of these numbers. Jamie, I hope you're sitting down, which we're on video, so I can see you're sitting down. But let me read you out what Dallas has going on. Right now, Dallas, Texas has 189 hotel projects and 21,840 hotel rooms in the pipeline.
Crazy.
That's crazy, right? The projects break down to there are 25 projects and 3,100 rooms right now being built. There are 80 projects and 9,021 rooms starting in 2025 or 2026 to be built. And there are 84 projects and another 9,641 rooms in the early planning stages of, like planning, permitting, and everything. They're estimating 6,500 hotel rooms, new hotel rooms will be open within the next 36 months. And I mean,
that's a good chunk.
That's pretty wild. And, Dallas, I moved here in 2018 from California, like a lot of other people. And I will say, like, the Dallas hotel scene is pretty rough. I mean, we lost our Four Seasons property. It got turned into a Ritz-Carlton in Las Colinas. And the city has a lot of interesting hotels, but nothing really luxury. Like, we've gotten a Virgin property. There's a Hall Arts Curio Collection Hotel, which is the same people who built the Thompson Palm Springs. And there's a lot of stuff in that range. There's a Thompson Dallas, which is okay. But, Four Seasons, Auberge, coming to Dallas, JW Marriott. It's some interesting things. So let's focus on our property today after we talked about this interesting thing. It is the Auberge Bowie House. I think this is the best luxury hotel in Texas as of today.
The whole
Auberge
state?
Bowie House. The whole state. I think
Okay.
it's dominating the whole state.
Auberge Bowie House. It just opened, right? When did it open?
December 1st, 2023. So it's 14
so just
months
over a
old
year
right now. Man, they just did an incredible job. And one of the things that I find a flaw in every luxury property in Texas is they just do a little too much of one direction. Like, they either try way too hard to be like a Western hotel, where it's like to the point where it's like cheesy or very disingenuous, or they go the extreme other way and they're like, it's like too modern, too luxurious, too cookie cutter. And somehow this hotel does both really well. I brought a friend with me when we were staying here and visiting, and they said when you walk into the lobby of this hotel, it's like you're walking into someone's house that is like a very wealthy, rich, like Texan. And it's just, you've got all these like cow hides and leather. And it's very high-end feeling, like it's very accessible or attainable luxury as you walk around, but it's just really incredible. You have like wood slats all over the roofs. You've got some like like bull skulls and things, but it's not to the point where it's like gross,
cheesy.
Yeah. So it just feels very like genuine and very well designed. Like whoever interior designed this place deserves a Purple Heart, right, or some, I don't know, Medal of Honor.
The Medal of Honor for hotel design.
Yeah, just for doing such a good job. Part of it is I don't think the Auberge really has a lot of competition, and that is definitely part of the issue. And I think one of the really cool things as well, the owner of this property is a huge art collector, and she has all of her art on display, and they rotate some of that art, but it's like museum level art. Like just in walking around in some of the pictures and video clips you'll see, it's like stunning art. And I guess they rotate some of it, and it's all integrated into the property very well. And it doesn't feel like a cookie cutter property. And I think one of the other things that really gets me excited about this property too is the price is very reasonable, right? When you are thinking like brand new luxury property, when we were there, the rooms were under $400 a night.
Wow, that's way cheaper than I would have expected.
Yeah, and now listen, there's going to be situations where you've got like PBR and some of these things coming to town in Fort Worth. You're not staying there that cheap. You know, the average rate seems to be about $500 from what I saw. Most of the time, if you're in the weekdays, it seems to dip into $350, $400s. When I pulled pricing for a big concert that was in town, you were pushing $600-$700, but even that's not super unreasonable, in my opinion.
So I'm going to ask a question. You kind of segue to this, right? So talk about PBR. Why am I going to Fort Worth, Texas? I'm not super familiar with the area. I'm not familiar with Texas in general very much. But like, what's in the area? You know, if you stay here, what are you doing?
That might be the problem about this hotel. However, here's the thing. Fort Worth is, I think, one of the places where I think you can go and get a very genuine Western cowboy experience. If you don't want that, it has kind of hipsterfied, and I'm probably going to get roasted because some people really love Fort Worth for what it is. Where the hotel is located, you've got access to a lot of interesting stuff. There's a really large like park area. There's a big botanical garden. There's actually a few really cool museums if you're a museum person as well. There's the Kimball Museum, the Fort Worth Museum of Modern Art, which are both fantastic museums. I've actually driven out there for a couple displays that I've seen, and that stuff's like walkable to this hotel. So the hotel's really in the thick of where you want to be. Not quite walkable as the Fort Worth Zoo, but it's 5-minute car ride. It's on the opposite side of the river in this like same little park area. So I think you could do a fun family weekend here. One of the really unique opportunities here is there's a lot of the high-end like boot stores, like actual genuine like leather cowboy boots, and some of the really expensive I should have remembered and done some research, like the hats that, they'll actually like steam out and make for you, but that are
I couldn't believe how expensive they were.
For me.
Yeah.
So you can do a lot of that in this area as well. So that's what I mean. You can really get like a full encompassing Western. There is a Cowgirl Hall of Fame and museum here as well. What I have done for some people that have come to visit is the Dickies Arena is like where PBR and some of this fancier stuff goes down. However, there's a Fort Worth stock show. So every week people come and sell cows and different animals. And then every Saturday there's like a local rodeo that's kind of like a kitschy, gimmicky rodeo show. It's cheap. It's fun. If you have kids under like 15, like during intermission, they like let the kids run around the rodeo area with like, they like chase sheep or pigs. I forget which one, but it's, listen, it's not the most, like, you're not going to have some buttoned up, super fancy experience, but I think for kids, or if you're just looking to be a little country for a weekend, I think it's a great spot. The Auberge is walkable to the stock show. It's walkable to the rodeo. I don't have offhand. There's a couple restaurants I really like in this area. I don't sadly have saved on my Google Maps or my notes, but I can share them and throw them in the show notes as well. But Listen, it's not what you're thinking from like a Dallas city experience, but I think if you want like a luxury cowboy experience and you don't want a car, you want something easy, I don't think you could probably beat this as an option in America.
And I think where I was going, there's enough stuff to do where you don't have to just sit at the hotel for 3 or 4 days. Like you can get out and there's stuff around there.
Correct. It's smack into the city. It's the hotel is basically there's some really fancy high-end homes and neighborhoods, and then there's on Montgomery Street, you've got everything to the left is like homes and fancy neighborhoods, and then everything to the right is all the museum, zoo, and whatever. And this auberge is right nestled into the residential side on the main street on Camp Bowie Road. So that being said, there is a McDonald's and CVS right there on the intersection, so it might not feel the most fancy on your drive-in, but I assure you everything about this place was 5-star. Interesting note, like when we were there, McLaren, the exotic car company, was doing their national sales meeting at this hotel. And then Saks Fifth Avenue has like full-time rented one of the big suites there, and they do like a pop-up shop, like private shopper situation for the hotel as well.
So can you go in there, or you have to be like a Saks like VI to be able to access it?
I think it's like an invite thing. Yeah. I don't think you're just casually walking in and ordering stuff. Because from what I understood, one of the ladies at the hotel was explaining to me, she was great, and she was just saying like they have clients who say like I'm going skiing, and I think they like ship in a bunch of like outfits that are in their sizes, and then you just try it on, take it, and they charge you type situation is what it sounded like.
It's if you got to ask the price, you can't afford it kind of experience.
Yeah. Yes. I think people that are being invited are not really worried about the cost or the discounted,
Yep.
Right. Situation. Now, I forwarded you this too, and I don't know if you pulled this up, but let's dig into some of the rooms. They've got a lot of room options, which is kind of a headache, but let me go over a couple.
Yeah. What did you get to see while you were there?
Okay. Well, let's do this first. The room that I toured, which I'll put a room tour up, it may be up before or after. This is called the Rhone Suite. It's a little bit on the smaller side for a suite. They're between 850 and 940 square feet. I'm pretty sure the one I toured was closer to 940 square feet because it was a corner room.
It's a good size suite.
It is. It's a decent size suite, and you do have the ability to connect a 2 queen bed studio to this as well. So if you have kids or a larger family, you can put them all together. Number one thing I loved about the Rhone Suite, it is an actual suite, because I can't stand when they say suites and then you cannot close the bedroom as someone with children who wants to put them to sleep or get some privacy. You had a full walk-in closet, and you kind of have a layout in the Rhone Suite where it's kind of made for entertaining. You have a half dining table that you could even bring some extra chairs over to, and then you've got a full couch, big coffee table, and then you can close off your bedroom, and then there's a half bath in this side as well. So if you wanted to have, some people over after the rodeo or, whatever you guys might be up to, there's a really cool bar cart with like local snacks and some bar and things as well. All the windows are floor to ceiling pretty much across this whole hotel in every room. A humongous walk-in closet, and then a gorgeous marble bathroom. Like big marble vanity, double sinks, had a humongous soaking tub, and then one of the larger walk-in showers I've ever seen in this suite. And it's this gorgeous like green floor to ceiling tile, and they use that in some of the base rooms as well, like the Boulevard King Studio. When you look at the pictures, it's that same kind of style for the shower in there as well.
Yeah, I'm looking at the pictures. I do see that tile, the showers look really cool. I love the decor. Like the decor in the rooms is really, really nice. I think you nailed it. Like it's not like over the top Westerny, but you get that vibe from it. One thing I think, and you could tell me if it was like this when you toured the room, it looks like they all have hardwood floors, which look really nice, but then they incorporate like some rugs and stuff to get a little bit of a soft texture and like some sitting areas and things like that.
Yeah.
Which I think is pretty unique.
All the touch points I think are really great. So all the rooms that I saw and everything looking at picture of is all hardwood, but you're right. They do a good job with some like big rugs. Even the bathrooms are hardwood, which I was like, man, that's kind of a choice with, you know, people that I don't know. Hopefully it's some like wood that's not going to bow the first time someone splashes out of the tub or something. But yeah, and even in the suite we looked at, you've got the double vanity sinks, and then to the side there was a little like makeup kind of counter with like a small one of those small LED mirrors, and then they had a big kind of full size mirror as well. I just felt like it was clearly made by people who thought of like functionalities in the room, and like, but they also had really nice touches, like the where the bed is. It's one of those big 4-post, I don't know what you call those things, bed frames, which I'm not the hugest fan of. But then next to that was a full leather dresser. It was like completely like all the insides were leather, the outside was all cool. Leather, it was very nice. And then once again, going back to some of the price points, I mean, these suites were under $1,000 a night when we were there. So I do think it's very achievable luxury, especially for the weekend. They did have some bigger suites that were full. I think the Goodnight suite is their larger suite, which I'm guessing that's what Saks was using, and that has like a full dining room for 8.
Looks like it has a fireplace in it.
Yeah, full fireplace, that's full crazy. Living room. I think it's like 1,900 square feet. It's on the top of the building. You can connect those to some of the smaller rooms as well. So that is good to know. And then if you even step into, there was a Sorel suite, which is kind of they're all on the front side. Those can also connect, which is great. It's a little bit bigger than what we saw, but those are not true suites. So it's like the bedroom is all the way in the corner, and then it's like an open living room. So a little less
interesting. It's the same size, but more like a giant junior suite.
Yeah. I think they're on the front side because if you look, it's completely all glassed. And if you look at how the building is built, where the valet and stuff is, it's all glass. And then the back side is where the Rhone Suites were in the other corner, where there's those kind of back up into homes. So they're a little more private with less glass, where these open glass ones just kind of look out into the park in the stadiums and stuff. So I think there's like a little less privacy. But even if you're going into the base rooms here, you're 400 to 450 square feet. I mean, that's a big base room.
Yeah, it's good size.
I was pretty pleased with the room types. If you start digging into some of the amenities here, there's a nice pool and hot tub, and those are on the back side of the property, which actually overlooks some residents that are not like for sale residents, but it's like private residents of theirs. She kind of explained it to me. I didn't really get it. But it is something managed by them, but it didn't sound like it was available to rent, or at least through the hotel. There's these buildings that are close, but they're just some auberge apartments or residential living type situation.
So I was just doing a quick search. Is this 106 rooms sound about right, like size-wise?
Yes. I had it pulled up, and I've opened so many
No, that's right.
Since we've been talking, I don't see, but I want to say it's 88 rooms and 20 suites or 18 suites. It's right around there.
That's exactly what I saw. It says 88 studios, 12 lofts, and then 6 suites. I think that's interesting. Okay. If there's only 6 suites, that means there's probably only 1 or 2 of each one then, I guess.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, so if you want a suite, book it soon.
Yeah, that good night suite that I was mentioning that I think Saks is in, I think she couldn't show me that because that's the only one, right? It was a little colder when we were there because, Texas weather is flip of a coin. Either could be 30 or 90 degrees. One thing I asked about is that none of the pool cabanas had TVs. And she said that's not normally an auberge amenity.
Okay.
But however, they've been pushing auberge to get them. And it sounds like they're in the process of being able to add them. Because she's like, look, a lot of people are coming here that are local or in the city, and it's like, they just want to hang out at the pool and watch a game where
that's football country.
Exactly. You can't not watch football on Saturday. I mean, that's your whole weekend, right? And so she was saying like Auberge Napa, a lot of people are using that more as like an escape or a getaway, where they found people have wanted TVs. It was just something glaring I saw because I was like, oh, there's no TVs in here. It did throw me off a little bit. And then if you look to, there's where the pool is, they've kind of built a, I don't know, almost like a temporary roof type thing. And on nicer weather days, they will allow you to do the dining outside in this little protected area. So not in the sun, but you're outdoors. Nobody was out there when we were there because, like I said, I had 5 degrees above freezing, I want to say. But even when you walk towards some, all of the event space was kind of being used for the sales conference I had mentioned, but I walked through the hallways and stuff out here, and there's even art like moving out to these hallways. And then there's a big public space that has like a billiards room. You'll see a lot of pictures of, and it has like a cool roulette wheel, like an old school, like, that you could just spin. And they had a couple other games and stuff in there and a lot of chairs, but it's very like Mad Men cigar loungy type situation. It was a really fun space. I did not eat while I was there on property, but I did the bar, and I did the bar also has like coffee.
Okay.
Which was fantastic.
I know you're a coffee guy.
The coffee was amazing. They did a great job on coffee. And then my friend who came with me got a Manhattan, which they had like a different spin on the Manhattan. They did like I want to say it was like cherry syrup, or I don't know. They did something different. She liked it a lot, so that was cool. So she gave me a thumbs up on the bar. And if you look through the reviews, I think it was rated as like one of the best bars in America. Oh, wow. When I was looking up something, someone had it on like their top bars in America list. But once again, you have all this really cool like Western aesthetic. They had all the tables are like that custom brass stamped, like it's not really an embroidery, but all that really fancy, intricate brass design that they like stamp by hand. Every table looks like that in there in the bar. And there's a couple TVs. There's a lot of art. There's some big like cattle horns over the bar. And, once again, I thought it was just designed really, really well.
Is the bar the library lounge? Does that sound right? Okay.
So the library lounge is part of the bar. Let me pull up a link and actually get a few of these names. I got lost in my clicking and websiting.
Yep. So one thing we were talking about, and while you're pulling that up, I thought was kind of neat. So if you're actually in town for the rodeo or cowboy type stuff, this is things that I don't even know what they are, but it talks about the amenities in the room, and you may be able to hit on it. They have hat racks, boot benches, and boot jacks. So I don't know what those are.
I'm pretty sure a boot jack is to help you get in and out of your cowboy boots.
Okay. Are those like the hooks maybe you put on and like...
Yeah, I think it's like a shoehorn, but it holds your boot more for you than that. And I'm guessing a hat rack is just so you don't crease your way too expensive cowboy hat.
Thought that was kind of neat feature that like if you're actually there for that and can store your stuff properly.
Yeah. And so I don't remember the library name. When I pull it up on the website, it's just the bar at Bowie House, but maybe that is the correct area. It's a really renowned whiskey bar. And then they told me they had a lot of people who come during the day locally and just like work in there as well, which if you're doing dining and you are local, valet is free until 5 p.m.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, that was good to know, just as a point. And so the yard is technically the outside area where they serve you. What I thought when you said the library was actually, it's called the Mulberry Room. And so it's this really cool like library, and it can be closed off for private events, but it's just kind of open as part of the bar. Probably the best interior design I had seen. There's like a center fireplace there. They do mahjong, I think, once a week there. And they have some different, they do like a monthly or a weekly like bourbon class in there as well, and go over some of the collections. But it's right off the bar. And then from what she said, you can rent it out privately and then kind of close it off as well, which I found really... I would love to do like a mini event there, like some kind of meetup, or I think she said you could fit 30 or 40 people in there. And then the main restaurant is Brick and Horses, which that's where you're getting your breakfast after you've booked with us, obviously. Okay. Yeah. So breakfast is there from 7 to 10:30. They do a weekday lunch, and then Sunday they do like a special brunch there as well. And it's kind of casual. And then for dinner, they bring out white tablecloths, the whole nine, and it's like a very Texas style steakhouse, like older school. And they do, a lot of the things you would expect on a Texas steakhouse. I didn't do dinner there. I can't comment. Breakfast wise, everything was A+. You've got all these cow skinned seat backs and things, which you probably seen some of the pictures. It's kind of unique. And then they do some house social stuff. They've got some special menus at the bar from 4 to 6 every day. with cocktails, and like some, I think we tried the potato crisps, which were great. And I think they have a few other specialty snacks and some things. Like they did some like jerky and meat with chips and things that I saw some other people eating that all looked really good.
So if we are booking you the Bowie House, what are the benefits we can get for them?
Perfect. So it's going to be full breakfast for two. That does not include alcohol or gratuity, but cuts a decent portion off your bill every day. You have $100 resort credit, early check-in, late checkout based on availability, and same with upgrade based on availability. And yeah, I mean, it definitely helps you out. And I think the nice thing too is like with it being a lower price point property some days, $100 resort credit on a 2 or 3 night stays, giving you a decent refund back. Breakfast at any hotel is, astronomical these days. So that's always nice.
Yeah, and it sounds like it's a pretty nice restaurant. And I mean, if there's not a ton of stuff around, it's nice having that where you don't even have to think about it. You just get up and grab some breakfast.
There's probably not anything super walkable breakfast wise. Like a lot of stuff is a little bit further from town. You have a lot of the event venues and things there, but it's a little bit of a distance to some of these restaurants in the area. I think we've covered this place pretty well. I would touch on the spa. With this hotel being new, there is a lot of I kind of like walked in and talked to some of the girls there, but it's very like new agey, I guess, so to speak. Like they had a lot of these, like, I don't know, there was like a gold foil treatment you could do. They have full spectrum infrared sauna rooms that you could do. And they had a lot of the stuff that's like, on the more modern side of things that people seem to be pretty into. They have like almost like a salt room type thing in some spas. I just poked my head in there. I didn't go through. The fitness center is a little bit on the smaller side, but they had a lot of stuff. They have some of those like self-propelled treadmills, regular treadmills, bikes. They have all that, I forget, all those big ropes things. I forget what program that is that people do. They had free weights, some kettlebells. For a luxury hotel, I would say it's up to standard. It's not above and beyond by any means. But, once again, you got to remember in the context, you've got a city hotel, right? It's 100 rooms. So you've only got, you've got one pool, one hot tub, smaller fitness center, smaller spa. But I think
you're also not fighting with a million people, right? Because you only got 100 rooms.
Yeah, exactly. And everywhere I walked around, it didn't seem that crowded, and they were near capacity. I think when we were there, they're telling me, I think they were in the 80% capacity.
Yeah, that's impressive.
It didn't really feel overrun. And I don't know, it just feels like its own little mini museum. And I'm obviously not a Texan. I'm sure we've gathered by my lack of knowledge on hat names and boot tools, but it brings you like a good, authentic Texas feel, but you're also in a very luxurious experience. So I think it can blend both of those for you. I think if you are a Texan, it's not a bad idea to pop up for the weekend just to explore, do Fort Worth Zoo and some things. Certainly not kid friendly, but I also wouldn't really classify it as kid unfriendly. They have live music on some days that come out and play. They can set up some, I think, picnics in the garden they were telling me about. I didn't try. But I didn't have my daughter with me when I was there, but I also I didn't get the impression my daughter would be unwelcome anywhere. My daughter would have loved the food at breakfast and things. It's another place to put on the map. We've gone from South Carolina to Texas. Some places maybe you weren't expecting us to knock out.
It's cool seeing like properties and places. Palmetto Bluff, for one, was one that I would have never in my mind ever thought about. And now after visiting, I'm like, hey, this would be a great, whether it's a long weekend or, kind of something different, idea to do. Same with this, like you're looking for a long weekend trip, right? Flying into Dallas, you can usually find probably pretty cheap flights. And if you fly into Dallas, how far is this from the airport?
I was about to look that up for you. I wanted 30 minutes right now. It says flat.
Okay.
So that's 26 miles. It's not that bad. I mean, if you think about it, downtown Dallas or even out where I live, like Plano Frisco is about the same.
Yeah.
To get most places from DFW is 20, 30 minutes. But
yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah. No, and you have such good connectivity here. And just thinking about like doing something up at the stockyards. There's even somewhere I have not been, but if there's any aviation geeks, there is like a Fort Worth Aviation Museum. It does seem very much, it's very heavy military jets and things that are on display out there. But that's also something else to consider. Like if you've got a kid who really likes military aviation or just, jets and things, there is, I think there's like some old Blue Angel planes and some vintage things. And there's like an outdoor version and an indoor version. I'm nowhere. I used to think I was an aviation nerd until I met people in our circle who are actual aviation nerds. Yes. And I'm very, very far from an aviation nerds. Old military planes isn't really on the top of my list to visit, so I have not been there. But yeah, there's a lot of different things. You've got, the stockyards, which I mentioned in the show, and local rodeo and things. So I think no matter who you are or where you are coming from, I think you could appreciate, a fun weekend of rolling up your pants and acting country and buying a little fancy hat as a souvenir. And this is definitely the place you want to stay, because there's no real, I think before this place was built, you had the Hotel Dreiss, which was probably the next best option, but it's not even
in the same conversation.
It's not even in the same conversation. It only works because it's kind of new and it's very like hipster feeling-y, in a way. It's like the hipster side of that property. And there's a lot of fun shopping. And my friend has lived in Fort Worth who met up with me there, and she was telling me there's lots of really cool like vintage shops and very like Western clothing places all around that area as well. So anyway, Fort Worth, Texas, it might be the best luxury hotel in Texas right now. If it's not, I would love to hear some feedback. The only option I would consider even entertaining right now is Hotel Emma in San Antonio. And I will tell you, that is on my list to go stay and review. It is built in an old brewery.
Okay.
And it's a leading hotel.
That sounds funny to me, because when I think brewery, I think like new hipster place. So it's probably like something even before it was a brewery.
Right. Well, and it's when I say brewery, it's like a very old, like post-prohibition brewery.
Okay.
But it's like a gorgeous like building from that era, and they've renovated it, but they left some of the brewery stuff in, so you can actually stay in a room in the brewery.
That's cool.
Or you can stay in like a more modern wing of the hotel. It's a leading hotels of the world brand, and I have heard feedback from a few clients that we've put there, and they say that is the best hotel. So I'm open to that one, but I haven't stayed there yet. But the build out and stuff also looks really cool. It's just in a very different direction. But rambling at this point, but you can Google Hotel Emma if you want, but hopefully I'm going to go visit there and put that on the map. If you also want to stay at Hotel Emma, we can help you out there as well. Jamie, I think that's it for today. We will see everyone in the next 2 weeks, which I don't think we know what our next episodes are yet, so I can't spoil them for you, but they're going to be great. That's all you need to know. Our best episode we've ever recorded. Goodbye, everyone.
See ya.